On today's edition of Hammer's Law, are they justified or are they just a jerk?
Okay, Darryl, as an attorney, I have to imagine you have met your fair share of, I'll call them a-holes. Am I right?
Yeah.
You don't have to name them, but I'm betting that your job puts you in contact with a few of them. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about a-holes. There's a very popular thread on Reddit called AITA. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
And it stands for Am I the A-hole? And what happens is people share their stories there and they let everybody weigh in on who's right and who's wrong.
Okay.
But today, there's only one opinion that matters. You, Darryl Isaacs, are the Kentucky Hammer, and you're a seasoned attorney in good standing. You know the law, and you are of sound mind and sober countenance, and you've dealt with plenty of a-holes in your life. So your challenge today is I will share stories with you from the Am I the A-hole Reddit thread, and then we will rationally and logically discuss the possibilities. Then you'll decide who's in the right, and I will make an official pronouncement on your behalf about whether or not they are in fact an a-hole. We're calling this segment Final Verdict, A-hole or Not. And also, I might be playing devil's advocate / opposing counsel just to test your opinion, make sure it's not biased. All right, you ready to dive in?
Sure, let's go.
Okay, so our first submission comes from someone named Short Courage 1763, and the title is, Am I the A-hole for using my father's disability as a teaching opportunity for my son? And this is what she wrote. She said, backstory, a while ago my father got into a horrible car crash. He recovered, but unfortunately he will walk with a limp for the rest of his life and he needs a mobility aid from time to time. I have a 16-year-old son. I'm raising him alone since his father left us. He keeps contact with his father, although the father doesn't get involved much with the parenting process. My son also keeps contact with his grandpa and knows what happened to him, the accident. My son has his own car. He recently got a speeding ticket, and it was a massive one. He went over 60 in a 40 zone. So of course I was horrified. I confronted him, and I told him that if he doesn't stop with speeding, he may get in a crash and have to walk with a cane for life like his grandpa. It was a pretty brutal thing to say, but I was scared myself. I have horrible driving anxiety. He was horrified too. My son's very empathetic and sensitive, and what happened to his grandpa traumatized him deeply. He also has OCD like me, and he's getting professional help for it, so he's no longer comfortable with driving on his own. My ex-husband has a work-from-home job. He can drive our son with zero issues, so our son asked him for help and explained the situation, and my ex had an absolute meltdown. He started screaming and accusing me of fear-mongering and ableism, saying that I shouldn't have used my father's disability as a teaching moment. I explained that I literally just gave him an example. I told the story to my father and he said it's decent parenting, so I'm still confused. So that's the story, Darryl. First of all, let's establish there's no crime here, right? This is just a disagreement.
Oh, sure,
no crime has been committed.
Unless you consider a mental crime, but no, there's no crime.
So what do you think? First of all, she used the example of her dad for her son.
I don't see anything wrong using the example of her dad, but what she did is she shamed her son. Maybe a better approach would be when discussing it, if he chose the behavior, you just could possibly end up like what happened to her father. I think you can use the example, but I just think she could have been more careful about her choice of words, because especially the younger generation, with all the pressure they're under with all the social media and the bullying and exclusion, but shaming is another form of something that, you know, it sounds like she's helped create a new issue for him. And obviously, we don't know the situation between her ex and her, but I just think maybe I would have handled it a little differently. But, you know, it's one thing, you can judge people all day long, but until you step in their shoes, it's more challenging.
Okay. Well, it's interesting you brought up the in their shoes, because she points out here she has OCD and so does he. I feel like, and you can disagree with me, she maybe had more of a responsibility not to create a fear in him, knowing that it might turn into an obsession or a compulsion. And that might be what happened. That might be why he doesn't want to drive now.
I didn't realize this till later in life. Fear is learned behavior. So, you know, again, who's to say, but hopefully it has a happy ending.
Okay. So you would say, in this case, she's not totally in the wrong, but she definitely could have handled it better?
Yeah. I don't think she set out to intentionally do what she damage that she might have caused, but I think she could have handled it in a more compassionate way.
Okay, well then, so this is what I will say. Through the power vested in me as deliverer of the verdict, I now announce Short Courage 1763, kind of an a-hole.
Compromise verdict.
Exactly. So, all right. So our next submission comes from Lady Radish 8914, and the post's title is, Am I the a-hole for refusing to make breakfast for my father-in-law? Now, here's the context. She's a 25-year-old female, and she says, I recently got married 8 months ago to my 28-year-old husband. My father-in-law came to visit 3 days ago, and when he arrived late at night, I was shocked because we were not expecting him until yesterday. I'm heavily pregnant, and I could easily pop any time now. My energy levels have dropped significantly, and I can barely barely do any housework. Now, the day he arrived, I was lucky because I'd already prepared the meal in bulk to save energy. So I served him the food, wasn't a problem at all. Fast forward to today, my father-in-law has an interview, but last night both him and my husband didn't let me know what time he's gonna leave. So I was woken up early this morning by my husband to iron his father's clothes. I didn't want to do it, but I did it. I haven't been well lately due to the pregnancy, and getting out of bed is a bit hard. My husband then went to scroll on his phone while I did the ironing. He didn't bother to at least boil water for his father's breakfast. After I was done ironing, he asked why I hadn't made breakfast for his father, and then he went on to say, I don't love his relatives. I went back to bed and told him I wasn't well and that I wasn't gonna make breakfast. Then he said he can't wait for me to go to my parents because after I give birth, I meant to stay with my parents and learn some things about the baby. And he says I've become useless. So what do you think, Darryl?
Wow.
So first of all, again, no actual crime committed here, right? This is just disagreements. But what do you think? Is she a jerk for not having made her father-in-law breakfast?
Nope, not at all.
Okay. So in this equation, who should have done that? Should it have been the husband?
Well, I think it should have been discussed and communicated, and sounds like she already did one favor by ironing his shirts, which she's under no obligation. But, again, I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm just thinking could have been handled better. Maybe it could have been discussed what the expectations and what she's able to do, and the fact that she's pregnant and not feeling well, and then gives her ultimatums that he can't wait till she leaves after she has a baby. So
she was pregnant, man. Come on, meet her halfway. So, okay, well, then in my official capacity as deliverer of the verdict, I decree that Lady Radish 8914, you are hereby not an a-hole.
Yes.
Congratulations. All right, the next one is a quick one from a user named Rava Kitten. The post is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking for another towel for the baby? And this is what she said. I was just giving my toddler a bath. I had gone downstairs to grab a new towel before starting. My husband was outside shoveling. I just finished the toddler's bath when my husband came in all sweaty asking for the towel. I handed it to him without thinking, and he wiped his sweat all over the towel and handed it back to me. So I asked him what I'm supposed to dry the baby with. He looked at me like I was stupid and pointed at the towel. I asked him if he would please grab me another towel, and he flipped out, saying I was calling him disgusting. I apologized and he said never mind. Am I the a-hole? I wasn't trying to call him gross. My family just never shared towels or used dirty towels like that. I wasn't trying to be offensive. What do you think? Again, no crimes committed here.
Yeah.
So this is just difference of opinion, but what do you think?
I don't think she's done anything wrong.
So yeah, I was gonna say, he's making it sound like it's a personal offense to him, but factor in, if this wasn't your kid, if you wiped your face with a towel and then that was supposed to be handed to a stranger, that stranger would be reasonably upset that you wiped your sweat all over it, right? Why is it okay because it's your family?
Yep.
You know what it makes me think of? Did you ever have this happen when you were a kid where like an aunt or somebody, they would like lick a napkin and then wipe your face with it?
Yeah.
Because then, because it's a family member, you're not supposed to mind.
Again, we got people just not communicating very well.
Yeah. So in this case though, you don't think she did anything wrong?
No,
if anything, he was in the wrong here.
Right.
Okay, well, then Rava Kitten, on behalf of the staff of Hammer's Law, I hereby christen you not an a-hole. All right, so this next one's about brothers. You have brothers, right?
I have three.
Three brothers. Okay, so you'll relate to this one. It's from Beneficial Win 9930, and the post is titled, Am I the a-hole for not wanting to attend a wrestling event with my brother? And this is what he wrote. Basically, my brother has made me go to 2 wrestling events with him, and truth be told, I don't know why. Maybe he feels guilty about us not hanging out much, or he's worried about me being a complete homebody, but he's become rather pushy about attending these events. The thing is, I don't care about wrestling anymore, and in all honesty, I kind of hate it. I don't want to be around the community, and I don't like being in social events, especially in my 30s. My parents are also becoming obnoxious about this as well, and I don't feel like anyone takes my feelings into consideration. Right now, being social or making friends is very low priority for me as an adult. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to attend a wrestling event with my younger brother? What do you think?
No. Again, no crimes committed. America, you choose what you want to do. I think you're fine.
Yep. So I have a question though, just complicates it just a little bit. He said that his brother keeps trying to get him to go. It also says that his parents are being obnoxious about it. I wonder if there's a buried story here, because that the last thing he says is being social or making friends is low priority for me. That's fine. I don't have a lot of friends, but it does make me wonder, is his family doing this because they're concerned about him? Because he's not going out, he's not doing anything?
Could very well be. Not sure.
Yeah.
But it's his choice.
Yeah,
so.
Right, exactly. What it boils down to, it's his choice. But I think Beneficial Win 9930, I think your family's concerned about you. However, the Kentucky Hammer has spoken. You are officially not an a-hole. Congratulations. All right, and the last one, our last verdict for the day today will be from Lucky Apartment 9099. And the post is titled, Am I the A-hole for ticket scalping and selling them to my friends? Let's hear the details on this one. So she said, I purchased 2 tickets for one of the most famous concerts of 2024. This particular concert became sold out in the first day of the pre-sale for both nights in my city. It truly is one of the hottest topics in the country, with endless people searching tickets every day. Since I won't be able to attend, I decided to sell them to someone else. Initially, I was thinking of doubling the face value. Tickets in StubHub are going for 4 times that. However, I felt kind of bad and decided to put just a 20% increase in order to justify my 5 hours of waiting in the queue and the cost of the insurance. Having received dozens of messages on various platforms from strangers, I privately asked some of my friends if they would like to purchase them before I sell them, given the high demand. They agreed, sent me the money, and I sent them the tickets where the face value was written on them. After 2 days, they must have noticed the face value on there, and they started sending me nasty messages calling me a whore for profiting from them. Many people have told me that I should not have profited from my friends. However, I never pressured them into buying them and never said that this was the initial price. So am I the a-hole?
So I don't think she is, but I'd look at, could this be handled a better way? So if you go buy tickets from StubHub, Ticketmaster, you're going to pay so much more than the face value. What she might have been better off doing is selling to them and let them mark it up. And then, because what she did try to do her friends a service, she went, took the time, trouble, spent the 5 hours. I don't think she did anything wrong, but it just goes to show a lot of times family and friends want it for face value, want it for nothing. So maybe she could have said, hey, look, these are worth so much more. This is what I'm going to charge. You don't have to buy it. But I don't think she's done anything wrong. And if her friends, they're going to look past that.
Yeah. It could have been communicated better, basically.
But everything you're telling me, sometimes it's just communication and then people take it too far.
In this case, though, I will say her friends probably shouldn't have called her a whore. That's kind of unreasonable.
Well, no one should call anybody that.
Well, then, okay. So I think then the legally non-binding decision of Darryl Isaacs of Hammer's Law is that Lucky Apartment 9099, you and your friends are both a little bit a-holes each. Just work on your relationship a little bit. Darryl, thank you so much for bringing respect and balance to the decision-making process. This has been Final Verdict, a-hole or not. Oh, Darryl, if lots of people like and comment on this episode, are you willing to do more Am I the A-hole episodes?
Sure.
Absolutely. All right. So you heard it here. Subscribe, like, and comment, and we will see you next time for more fun and informative legal content.